Are you a woman feeling crazy? Like, literally, I had gone to 2 trauma courses. I've seen 1 therapist. I've gone to doctors. I thought I was losing my mind. No, my hormones were just off, so listen up. Good morning. I'm going to chat a little bit more about hormones, and this applies for perimenopause and also menopause. I'm in perimenopause. I promised that I would give you guys feedback. I have gotten overwhelming messages from women on all of my platforms. I'm not the only one going through this. I'm not a doctor. I don't pretend to be. This is not medical advice. This is my own personal experience. So just to catch you up real quick, I went to a OBGYN group that says they specialize in hormone and menopause and perimenopause. And basically they half looked at my labs. They didn't listen to me. They thought my main concern was acne, wanted to just put me on the birth control pill, and I happen to be estrogen dominant, so it would have been bad, but they wouldn't know that because they didn't look at my labs. So here are a couple of things that I recommend. Okay, I recommend going to a website called womeninbalance.org. I'll put the link here for that programs that the link will work. And you can see questions to ask your potential provider. I think choosing the right provider is essential. What I ended up doing, honestly, was going on a Facebook group for my community, and I anonymously posted my frustration and what I was looking for. I was very careful not to badmouth the other physician's office because I'm not trying to hurt anybody's practice. They may be great at other things, right? And I also had shared in my stories on my own page, and I had 3 local women that I know tell me the same person to go to. And when I looked at her up, she was a bioidentical hormone specialist. She's a nurse, and her son happened to be a doctor. And so I went to see her yesterday. I needed to pay cash. Best money I've spent. It was way cheaper than that OBGYN that didn't give me any answers. Okay, and then last but not least, find a compounding pharmacy that office works with. They need to be part of PCCA, which is Professional Compounding Center of America. The FDA has only approved testosterone for men. So all of these things are done in a powder form, much lower doses. Women do not have the same hormone levels as men, right? We're quite different. But it's kind of like an art and a science, and it either comes in a cream form or it comes in like a lozenge form. And so it's really important that the provider that you work with is well versed in that, because for women to be getting relief, we're doing stuff essentially off label. There are studies that support it, but it's not a big pharma thing, which honestly I think is good because the cost for the different hormone things I got yesterday were very minimal. I was very happy with that. Okay, and then the other thing that I learned is when you have your hormones tested matters. Women, it changes hundreds of times in your cycle. So the best time to have it tested is day 18, 19, 20, or 21 of what would be a normal cycle. And I know that may be changing. So from the first day of bleed is day 1. That's going to give you the most consistent level for any of these practitioners to look at to give you an assessment. I will also share with you some of the books that she shared with me. I read one of them last night. It was very informative just on how the different hormone levels work, some of the misconceptions people have around breast cancers, that kind of thing. I found it very helpful. When it came to supplements, so I'm not medical, but these are some of the recommendations she made, that depending on where you are at with hormones, she regularly recommends Indole 3 carbinol. A lot of people know it, I think, as IC3. It has a lot of cruciferous vegetables in it, vitamin D3, but you have to be careful because you can have too much. Magnesium, threonate, because there's quite a few different magnesiums. Zinc, vitamin C, and omega-3s. Now, depending on how you're eating, that will also help. I asked her about eating, and she knew I was a health coach. And as we started chatting, she's actually done Optavia before and loves the program. So I appreciated that. But she said, ultimately, you need to make sure you're getting enough protein and you need to get lots of vegetables. And I completely agree with that. She said different people in this space swear by a certain type of eating, but really you need to find what works for you, and healthy is always best. The other thing that I found very interesting is when you start adjusting your hormones, whether you're doing it naturally or with some bioidentical or these compounding, you need to have blood work done every 6 weeks. You need to check it. You need to make sure that it's not at too high of a level, too low of a level. It's kind of a dance and it can take a few appointments. So don't run. Less is more. So start with smaller doses, which is always my philosophy, kind of in everything, and then adjust from there. I also brought her the different supplements I had been taking from our nutrition place, and some of them she said were great and some were not worth it. So some of those progesterone creams that you can get that are Yam Skin, which is where you get most progesterone creams, she said you would need so much of that cream for it to be worthwhile that it's usually not cost effective, not worth doing. She did like maca powder. That was something she agreed with. She liked DHEA, but she said you need to have your blood tested if you're going to be taking that kind of stuff. So based on all the research that I've been doing, my recommendation is really finding someone that truly is a hormone specialist and go back to those questions to ask, because we're complicated. As if you didn't already know that. It's not that simple as tinkering around and just willy-nilly adding this or that from the nutrition store. I think we need to be careful, especially when we're messing with hormones. Too low of a level is not good for you. Too high of a level is not good for you, right? But I do think that quality of life is massive. And if you're feeling off and you know what your body used to feel like, you need to check that. Also, just being in my health space, if you're doing everything right and you're not losing weight, you're truly doing everything right, you need to have your hormones checked because something's wrong.